Hello everyone. Today we will talk about the question 2 of homework 2. Okay, let's look at the problem first. And according to the question, we already know the probability of x1 equals 0 is 0.2 and the x1 equals 1 is 0.8. And we also know these four conditions right here. Okay, now let's look at the question. The question A asks us, find the probability of x2 equals to 1. Since we need to find the x2 equals 1, so we have two kind of conditions for x2 equals to 1. The first one is x2 equals 1. The first one is when x1 is 0, and the next one is the x2 is 1. And we can have this equation in here. And the second case is like when the x1 equals 1. Then we have this equation here. Since we already know those numbers, so we just plug it in. So in here we get the first one is 0.4 times 0.2 plus 0.7 times 0.8. Now we can calculate this together and we get 0.64. And so we can say the probability of x2 equals 1 is equal to this number right here. Now let's look at the question B. The question B asks us to find the probability of x3 equals 1. So we can use the similar approach like the question A. That means it's like when x3 equals 1, we have x2 equals to 0 or x2 equals 1. These two cases, but we haven't calculated that yet, so we can use another approach. We can just use the matrix out to calculate this number. Since we already know the probability of previous one is 0.2 and the last one is 0.8, so we can know this probability right here. That means like n is 0 and the next one is 1. So in here we can plug in those numbers we know, like the 0.6, 0.4, 0.3, and 0.7 together. Since we need the two operations in this equation, so we need the exponential 2 right here. The reason of 2 operation is because we need to calculate x2 equals to 0, x2 equals 1. Also, we need to calculate the one before x2, which is x1, the two cases of x1. So in here, we need 2 operations. Then we just simply multiply these two together, and we get these two numbers in here. So this one is represent this one, and this one is represent this one. In this case, we want the x3 equals 1, so it means this case. So we can say that when x3 equals 1, the probability is 0.592. And let's look at the question C. It tells us to find the probability of under the condition of x3 equals 1 and find the probability of x1 equals 0. Since we already know the base theorem looks like that. PAB divided by PB and PEA times PA divided by PB. We know that this belongs to base theorem. So in this question, we can apply this theorem in here. That is look like this. And just plug in and plug it in into this equation. So we get this. For the one we already know is like we need to, in this question, we need to find this. This is our target. So we have this equation just like the previous one, just similar to the previous one we did. And x3 1 and x1 equals to 0. This is just similar to what we did in last example. So in here, we know the probability is 0.6 and 0.4, which is represent like when x2 is 0 under the condition of x1 is 0 and x2 equals to 1 under the condition of x1 is 0. Then we use the same equation, the same number in here, then we get these two numbers. So the final, we can calculate this and just plug in those numbers divided by. This number is the question B. We calculate this number in question B, so we get this number for question C. And the last question is question D. The question tells us to look at when the n is approaching infinity, let's find the probability of xn equals to 0. Since n is approaching to infinity, and we also know when n approach to infinity plus 1 is very large as well. So in here we can say this one is approximately equals to this one since they are both pretty large. So right now we can write the equation like this, like x and times the matrix we have. So this one represents the when n approach the infinity plus 1, and this is the probability of n approaching infinity. In here we can approximate their similar, so in here we can get this equation. Then we get this. Then it's simple math, so we can calculate x is equal to 3 divided by 7 in here, so we can say the probability of when n approaching infinity, the xn is when xn equal to 0 is 3 divided by 7. So that's pretty much about it about this question. So I'm gonna stop in here.